we don't need to actually have a token for each game, because the capabilities that you're going to need to maintaining that tokenomics is way beyond what a normal, even like triple A gaming studio would have.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 10th episode of Colors of Web3 and Entrepreneurship. My name is Lum, the Web3 guy. I'm your host today. And here with me is Devon, who is the head of APAC in Business Development for Helika, and Huiling, head of Asia for Ready.gg. Devon and Huiling, can you guys give a quick introduction about yourself?
Devon, do you want to go first, or?
Yeah,
No,
Devon.
you go first. You go first.
Okay. Thanks for the introduction. Hey guys, my name is Huiling. So Lem already gave a little bit about my professional background. Personally, I am based in China, born in China. I grew up in Africa, in West Africa, in Ghana actually, and then studied in the US. So while studying in the US, my background was mainly advertising and communication. And then 3 years ago, I read the white paper on Bitcoin. That's when, the light came to me. So I joined Web3, and I've been in the Web3 industry since then.
Awesome. And Devon?
All right. Thank you, Len, for having us. So I'm Devon, head of business development for Helika in APAC. So I was in Web2 gaming for 8 years before joining Web3, mostly marketing analytics, attribution, also product analytics for games to understand the user behavior, the mathematics of the game for game company to increase their user acquisition, retention, engagement, etc. Joined Web3 early this year. It's super exciting industry. A lot of companies, Web3 infrastructures is coming up. So it's a very exciting time. Similar how we're seeing from PC to mobile, we're seeing a transition from Web2 game to Web3. It's the same witnessing right now. So it's a very exciting time, and happy to join the conversation.
Awesome. Sounds like both of you have very global and professional experience. Huiling, it seems like you've lived in several different countries. And yeah, so have you, Devon. So I'm wondering, one question I'd like to ask is, how did you guys first actually get into Web3 in crypto, right? What was the first thing? I think, Huiling, you mentioned you read the Bitcoin white paper, but I'm sure there must be something before that, right? And
I mean, before I actually went to read that white paper, I was having a conversation with a friend. So that was the beginning of COVID, right? Roughly about 3 to 4 years ago. We were talking about a mutual friend who made a fortune with crypto. At that time, we had no idea, like Ethereum, Solana is like, what is that? We just knew this guy, a mutual friend who made a fortune with trading crypto, and he's buying a house, he's opening a bar, and we just told each other, we're like, whatever this is, we got to get in it. Obviously, that piqued our interest. We started studying a little bit more, reading a lot about into it. And I think one of the biggest fundamental concepts that lured me in was really this idea about decentralization. I think, given the global context of the world in the last couple of decades, it's also been fairly unstable, right? So we came across this idea of everybody having, access and being inclusive in a very big ecosystem of the blockchain. We were super attracted about it. Then we started working. So this friend of mine and myself, we actually worked in the same crypto VC after we got interested with the idea of decentralization. It wasn't until the beginning of this year, I really started asking myself, what is going to help us onboard the next million users from Web2 to Web3? And that's how I discovered this company that I'm working for now, Ready.gg, and that's when I joined them.
awesome. Yeah, thank you. And what about you, Devon?
My first, interact with crypto was 2017. Still in the Web2 space, but personally just did trading with Bitcoin and Ethereum. At the time, it's still too early. With I didn't see a lot of application utilities, so I didn't decide to join the industry until about 2 years, 1 year ago. There were DeFi, NFT, blockchain gaming. I started to see the application of technology, blockchain, and it allows gaming industry particularly allows players to have new experiences, because that's something I think could fundamentally change how people would how should we use the technology, why we should shift to the blockchain gaming instead of a Web2 gaming. So for example, digital ownership, where Web2 games you can play the game but you don't actually own an asset. In Web3 game you can own an asset potentially to trade. It's not necessarily making money out of the trading. It's more like, for example, in old days we have CDs, we have DVDs, and the feeling of ownership and the utility of you can actually resell it after you finish the CD is an experience. We still want to have that as an end consumer. So that's the value of ownership. And the second, interoperability. So, for example, new experiences is from PC to mobile. Players can play games in trains, in buses. That's new experience because the mobility that mobile games provides. And for Web3 game, interoperability is also a new experience. For example, you can play game A and then use that asset in game B. It could be different asset, it could be a different representation of the same NFT, but it allows users to experience multiple games with the same character or same kind of sword or skin or whatever. So that's the fundamental kind of value why I believe in Web3 and join the industry this year, because the past 2 or 3 years development.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, looking forward to hear more about it. Before we deep dive into your company, I would like to know what do you guys do for fun outside of work? What are your hobbies?
Okay, so for hobbies, I'm actually not like a hardcore, RPG gamer, even though I'm working for like a Web3 gaming company. So my favorite genre of gaming is probably, casual, hyper casual mobile game. I know this is really sick. There's this new title that came out. It's called Crazy Hospital, where you go through the different parts of the hospital, like cleaning someone's wound or popping someone's pimples.
Oh, okay.
Just to give you, an idea. Yeah,
see.
so that's kind of like more of my thing.
What's the objective of the game? Do you collect points, or do you like how do you finish a game? Is it like infinitum?
You unlock levels.
Okay, but
Yeah.
is it like infinity? You just keep on going forever?
Yeah,
or
you
is
keep
there
on going.
an end?
I haven't seen the end yet, just because there are hundreds
I
and
see.
hundreds of levels. So yeah, that's something that I normally enjoy playing on my
see.
phone. Aside from that, I am very passionate about pets. So I'm also a co-owner of a bistro in Delhi where I live. We just threw a dog party for Halloween. So yeah,
Nice.
that's kind of like what I do from my free time.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. What about you, Devon?
Yeah, same as Huiling. I play games for fun. Part of that is, industry. I have to always, keep my eyes open. What's top? What games are trending? Also, another 50% of me playing game is it's fun. I enjoy playing game, whether it's console game or PC game. It kind of so some games bring you, into another world. Some games help you to learn something, whether it's a language or whether it's a culture behind the game. So it's a very enjoyable experience, like watching a movie. And then besides playing games, I also like music. I play a couple instruments like piano, guitar, just to sing along and to go to different bars to listen to other people play. It's very enjoyable experience as well.
Can you play like classical music with piano? Or what type of music do you play?
Classical when I was young.
Okay.
Recent years, I'm playing jazz just because it's a genre I personally really like. It's very expressive, very sophisticated in some sense, but it's something I enjoy. Yes, that's what I do.
Plays into the stereotype of like tiger moms and Chinese kids. So I grew up learning classical piano as well. So yeah, we're definitely here to reinforce the stereotype.
I see. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't learn any instrument at all when I was younger. I just play a lot of video games when I was younger. So
Fair
I
enough.
hope I can help to break that stereotype. Anyway,
Yeah,
awesome.
in English, like play instrument and play game is the same verb, play, right?
Sure.
And so essentially it's the same. It's something that you do for fun, and whether it's a game or it's instrument. So that's what I think. It's underneath it's the same. And in Chinese language, it might be different. So people take it more seriously because that's kind of like it's a different verb than English play.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I think that's a great segue into the main. Let's talk a bit more about your company so that the audience would have a bit of an idea. Maybe you guys can spend a few minutes to walk us through your company. Maybe start with Huiling and then Devon.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'll go first. Do you want me to share something or?
Yes, please. Yeah, feel free to share your screen. Yeah, while you talk.
Okay, awesome. Let me do that. Yeah, I think the visuals might also help. So let me. Okay, let me know if you guys have visuals. Do you see something?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah, very clear.
Let me just do that. Okay, so essentially, in a nutshell, what we do at Ready is that we have a SDK. You can think of it as a toolkit. You basically go into the toolkit and you can find anything you would want, which is a Web3 or blockchain gaming capability to add into your game. Okay, it's very easily done. We have API plugins for Unreal Engines. We have API plugin for Unity, and basically this SDK has been years in development. We are a Canadian company, and before we came into developing this toolkit for Web3 gaming, we were actually already, for many years developing just tools for gaming developers. And at some point, we pivoted to focus on the Web3 just because we saw the potential of the gaming industry being kind of like a breakthrough of onboarding the next billion users. Everybody's talking about, okay, the next bull market. What is the sector that's going to blow up? We have our money on gaming just because if you look at the active wallets right now in blockchain gaming, it's still, in the millions. But if you talk about gamers, right, playing traditional games in the Web2 space, we're talking about numbers in the billions. So we do think that a lot of these gaming companies or publishers, they want to add certain blockchain functionalities into their game. And basically what you're seeing right now on the screen are just a selection of the functionalities that you can add into your game. And when I say, Web3 gaming, it isn't necessarily gamify your game. I think Axie Infinity was something that, definitely was a bad example and haunted everybody. I talk to clients and they're like, oh no, have you heard of this thing called Axie Infinity? Like, have you heard of something called Steppen? So especially coming from a background of crypto VC, I do realize there's like a negative connotation, right? To Web3 gaming. But I think we are also here to help people transition that mentality into a more sustainable model of Web3 gaming. Meaning you don't necessarily need the FI part of the GameFi, which is the finance part. You still develop a fun game. You can add a lot of the technology from blockchain because let's face it, blockchain is just a technology, right? It's up to really every person in power on how he or she chooses to utilize it. The blockchain technology, like Devon said, will give complete ownership of in-game assets to gamers, for one. It will give complete ownership of data to gaming companies, for two. I mean, the list goes on. So with our tool, it becomes very cost efficient. It also becomes very resource efficient for these gaming companies to embed these Web3 functionalities into their games. And another way we work with, I would say, more crypto native projects is that sometimes they start building on one chain, right? Let's say I build my game on Solana. Okay, at a certain point, I hit kind of like a ceiling, and I realized that I need to go multi-chain. But you don't want to write your smart contract all over again, learn a new coding language for a new chain. So with our SDK, we can help them to be multi-chain or cross-chain very easily. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what we do, and that's how we serve our clients.
Interesting. So your company sells to other gaming companies, is that correct? B2B?
Yes, so we are B2B. For the moment, our indie portal is gonna launch in about 3-4 weeks, so watch out for that. I just came back from the indie developers conference in Indonesia, which was great. Very vibrant scene locally of the indie devs. Then I headed to Gamescom Asia in Singapore. So we want to develop an indie portal for the indie devs to basically use this tool on their own, right? You can mint, you can create NFTs with your asset. You can put all of your user profile on chain. You can also embed crypto wallets, which we developed ourselves. So all of these functionalities, the indie devs will be able to access with our portal. So yeah, that's basically the bigger companies and the indie devs with the portal.
Can you, before I was in Web3, I was a data scientist. Right? I like numbers. Can you give me some sort of a traction? How many business clients, how many user or whatever metric you guys use? You can
Okay,
share.
so I'll give you two sets of data just to give you an idea of how our clients are receiving this product and also how their gamers are receiving this migration to Web3. So I'll start with the client side. We have about I want to say 25 big studios and publishers already signed in partnership. This totals to somewhere about 100 titles that we are currently in production. So by the end of the year, or latest, I would say beginning of Q1 next year, we're projecting about 10 million active wallets within this whole ecosystem.
That is awesome. 10 million. Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then we have also some statistics from just running our MVPs. We do see an average increase of LTV from 7 minutes to 11 minutes for average player. We also see a 30% increase of free players to paid players, especially for those games that are monetizing mainly through IPs. So yeah, I think overall we're quite confident with this direction we're going, also from the feedback of these data.
Nice, thank you. Thanks for sharing the data. Yeah, and thanks for sharing the presentation as well. Yeah, Devon, you'd like to share with us a bit about your company?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Quiddy. Very insightful sharing. Let me pull up my screen real quick. So Helika is understand as a Web3 game analytics stack combining mainly three domains of data. So the first step, of course, is we want to connect the data sources with chain data, in-game data, as well as social media data like Twitter, Discord, and then we help customers to define what kind of metrics, KPIs. We have preview dashboards, and the customer can also custom ones. And we also have analysts to come in and to provide consulting service to give advice what kind of metrics reports customer might need. Depending on different genres of games, like or casual game, card game, whatever kind of game they have, there's a suitable template KPIs for them to utilize. And then the end result of analytics is insights, is actions to understand what can you do to help you improve the user acquisition, increase the retention, engagement, ultimately increase the revenue of the company. So that's the core value of the analytics product, to extract insights from the raw data and then take actions based on the insights. So
the raw data inside the game, right? The raw data inside the game.
Inside the game, chain, which includes NFT and a token, a fungible token, as well as social media data, Twitter, Discord. So we mix any two of them or all three of them. You can visualize in the same chart. For example, what happens if you have an NFT drop? What happens to your social media side? Is there a positive correlation or negative correlation? So you can understand not just on-chain, not just social, but on-chain and social together in one place. So that's the power of combining everything in one backend instead of looking at different domains differently. Currently, we have about 20 plus customers, so including e-games, Gala Games, Live Beyond, and a cyber agent in Japan. The model is quite hands-on with customers. So when customers come in, and we will help them design the KPIs, help them to do kind of a business review meetings every week or every 2 weeks to suggest kind of insights, actions that they can take based on the data. So in summary, a lot of people might think gaming is something more visual. It's the picture, the video of the characters, but actually underneath the core of a game is the mathematics, is the economics or tokenomics in the Web3 game, is to understand how can you break down different KPIs and optimize on different KPIs to ultimately increase the numbers. That's the core of the game business. So once you realize that, you will realize the value of analytics that can bring to help you either increase efficiency, reduce costs, or anything that might help you to do decision making in the company.
Yeah,
so that's,
I think analytics is super important. One kind of slightly technical question though: how do you manage to obtain the data from the user? Maybe on chain, off chain. Is there like some sort of some sort of data pooling mechanism that you guys use?
Yep.
Technical
so
side.
there are three domains of data. The first one is on-chain data. It's public, transparent database already, since it's a blockchain. So we have different third-party vendors that provide us this data set. And then for social media data, we actually have Twitter official API. It's a paid API we bought from Twitter, and then we'll get the Twitter likes, replies, quotes, even sentiment and mentions, everything that you need to understand about your Twitter community. For example, if you run a Twitter space, how many people join the space, how long they stayed, and who spoke the most. So all kinds of insights you can generate after the Twitter space is done. For in-game data, we rely on these game companies to send us their first-party data through API, because that's the only way we can collect that data. It's proprietary to the game company themselves. There's no way we can go out and then find the data ourselves. Yeah, so there are multiple different integration methods, and then we will be in the middle to do the data engineering, data modeling, realization for the customers. All the customer has to do is to open up the connection for us, and the end result for them is the very valuable insights for them to make decisions.
I see. Do you guys also operate like a SaaS model, B2B?
Yes, yeah, we're B2B SaaS enterprise business model. Monthly subscription, also with CSM, analyst support. We don't have any token or any NFT release ourselves, so we kind of like still like a Web2 company, software company, but in a Web3 space to help Web3 game companies.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Awesome, thanks for sharing. Sounds like a lot of data science going on at your company. Yeah, data science, data engineering.
Indeed.
Yeah, my favorite stuff. Anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and dive into the main discussion for today, gaming and Web3. So I guess first question I'd like to pose to both of you is, how does GameFi disrupt traditional gaming and finance industry, and what opportunities and challenge does it present? Maybe Huiling, you can go first.
Okay, so I'll go first. I mean, yeah, it's really disturbed. It's disrupted a lot of different industries. for better or for worse, I think the worst part is a lot of the negative connotation people have to GameFi now. Because for someone who actually enjoys playing a game, and this is a conversation I've had with many hardcore gamers, they didn't see much. There wasn't much interest for them to play a Web3 game. Okay, so I think that's something we have to kind of like sit back and reflect on what we did wrong. We built a lot of these so-called games, but that wasn't really fun to play. So the finance aspect was much bigger than the gaming aspect itself. Obviously, the Web2 players are not going to come in and play the game. So when you look at something like Axie Infinity, you have a very large population in Philippines, mainly participating in this game, just because it was almost like a livelihood for them. It was becoming like a way of earning money for them. But that's not sustainable in the long run. And obviously we're literally like knee deep in the repercussions of it right now, right? So I think when I look at how the GameFi sector has disrupted gaming and also finance, it's also brought out a lot of the questions that now we're doing it all over again. We know exactly what to avoid, meaning minimizing the trading aspect of the game, making sure that you have a game that is good to play, making sure that people who are coming into the game are really here to play the game rather than just get a free airdrop. And
so the gaming experience is important.
The gaming experience is everything. I very much understand from a crypto perspective that for sure you need to have a solid tokenomics. But look, let me just be like completely honest here. It's not a good set of stable tokenomics is really like creating your own economy. Okay, this is not something new to games or gaming companies. You've done this for big games, so we don't need to actually have a token for each game, because the capabilities that you're gonna need to maintaining that tokenomics is way beyond what a normal, even like triple A gaming studio would have. This is not something that everybody can do, and this, even in the bull market, is actually very hard to do. So we tell our clients like, okay, if you don't see the value of creating like a token in your game, then don't. Okay, it can be loyalty points, it can be just like a gold coin, something that can be pegged to a stable coin or a fiat for your benefit, right? So
well, if it's fiat, it sounds like gambling, no? Wouldn't it? I don't know if it would categorize it gambling or not.
I mean, I wouldn't categorize it into gambling, but it's very much like living in a country that you have crazy inflation. So tomorrow, your whatever token you're holding is gonna be on the floor worth maybe a quarter of what it was worth yesterday. But this is the kind of fluctuations you're gonna have to be ready to deal with. If you're going to have a full-on tokenomics, you're gonna want to launch your own token. So you better be prepared, and you better have the right team to do all of that. Market making, making sure you have enough liquidity, listing, all of that. That's a whole new conversation to have. So I think if you ask me where I stand with GameFi, I would say reduce the fi and increase the game. This is also why we are targeting traditional gaming studios and publishers to start with, bringing in the technology of blockchain into their game without, so far as to asking them to create their own token, especially when there isn't necessarily enough user cases for it.
That makes sense. I really like the sentence you said: reduce the fi, increase the game. Right? Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that's catchy. What about you, Devon? What's your take on this?
Thanks, Huiling, for sharing. So to answer your question, I think it's definitely very disruptive to both gaming and the finance industry. first to gaming industry, I think there are three areas that Web3 gaming is disrupting. First is ownership, digital asset ownership, as we mentioned before. And then second is interoperability between different games. It can be games made by the same company, it can be games made by multiple companies, so players can enjoy a multiverse kind of experience. And then third is community and data. This is something you can actually have a cohesive ecosystem, not just game developers, but players can provide feedback for a game company to release new features, new content based on a DAO, based on community kind of voting or whatever. So those are three disruptive ways that we're saying that's new, a new experience for players, new technology or mechanism for game companies, and in a disruptive way. And for finance industry, first of all, in traditional gaming, traditional finance, the challenge or the difference is money flows in multiple directions, not just players paying money to buy games, but players can also maybe earn some money from game companies. So it's a bi-directional or multi-directional kind of money flows. Second is DeFi integration. We're seeing more and more games allowing players to stake, lend, or trade their in-game assets. So it's kind of like the financial market within a game. So that's very distracting to finance as well. We can treat it as a finance product, or we can treat it as a game because the DeFi integration. Of course, there are challenges as well with all those disruptions. For example, regulatory challenges in some countries where crypto is not allowed. You cannot buy crypto, so you cannot play the game that needs crypto. And also scalability, interoperability. For example, Ethereum is not a gaming chain. It's very secure, but it's not scalable. Its TPS is not high enough it has high gas fees. So we need a more, scalable chains, different layer tools, solutions for Web3 gaming, especially because of very high transaction volume application. Also, interoperability on a technical level is not easy to achieve. Imagine in game A, asset is a sword, it's on a card, it's a card game, and then game B, you want to make that sword become a real 3D sword in an open world game. It's actually not that easy to make the change. It requires more technical stuff to be done or new standards so you can transfer access between different games. So those are challenges we're facing, even though the underlying thesis is established, but in order to execute it, we still have to do a lot of engineering work. And then with challenges, there are opportunities as well. For example, in traditional gaming, there are mainly two ways of monetization, IAP and IAA. So IAP stands for in-game purchase. So mostly PC games or some mobile games where you buy in-game assets, items, can be skin, can be heroes. And then second is in-app advertising. So especially for casual and hyper-casual games, where you play a game, you don't have to pay anything, but you watch the app, and then somebody's paying for the app. And then game company can monetize based on the app display. So that's majority two ways for Web2 gaming to make money. For Web3 games, there are new revenue streams, for example, NFT sales and the token price, up and downs, and also secondary market sales. So royalties earned. So those are new revenue monetization streams as revenue opportunities for game companies, even though there are challenges, as I mentioned before. So as an infrastructure company, as a service provider company, also the opportunity for us is it gives more startups more room or imagination area to explore, to create new infrastructures to help those game companies to make everything more seamless, easier to build Web3 games. Instead of understanding blockchain, understanding smart contracts, they just have to connect the API, install the SDK, and then boom, they have a Web3 game already, instead of understanding the low-level technical aspect of blockchain. So that's opportunity for B2B company like us. So in summary, I think it's very disruptive with Web3 gaming to both gaming and finance. There are challenges, there are opportunities, but overall, it's I'm very bullish about what's going to happen in the next 6 or 12 months.
Thank you.
But if I can just touch on what Devon said, so pretty much 80% of what he painted for us in terms of like the different perspective, like the challenges and the opportunities, I would say we are pretty much synchronized on our thesis of what an ideal landscape of Web3 gaming. I'm going to say Web3 gaming instead of GameFi. So I think we're pretty synchronized, just because, you know, what he was talking about in terms of like the DeFi aspect, the staking, the incentive, even UGC, right? Rewarding your user generated content. So all of these things can be done with any form of incentive that doesn't necessarily have to be with a token. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
We can do all of that. We can have all of those benefits, and we can create, you know, a much bigger liquidity pool, and also much more channels of monetization, both for the companies as well as the players, without the token. That's where I'm getting to. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you. Yeah, very interesting perspective from both of you. Yeah, I also like how Devon said that Web3 basically create new business models basically for gaming, right? With NFT sales and other stuff, secondary markets as well. Interesting. Yeah. So next, I'd like to touch a bit upon maybe AI in gaming. So how can the integration of AI in technology enhance the GameFi experience, and what are the ethical consideration associated with AI power gameplay and decision making?
Okay, so I guess I'll just keep on going first for the rest of the podcast.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think AI, obviously, it's like we're already seeing a lot of the potential that it has. First and foremost, for any game that has the PvE model, it's going to be very crucial to integrate AI, machine learning, understanding a player's ways in the game, and also, you know, helping them to enjoy customizing their experience in the game, being able to provide a much more immersive experience for the player that will increase the LTV from the game's perspective. But everything has a flip side, right? So I think the opportunity or the good thing is that one is going to create much more immersive and customized experience in PvE models for players. Two, I think also with AI technology, the barrier of becoming a gaming developer, especially if you're an indie developer, is going to be much lower. Previously, a lot of the genre or the more heavy duty games have been kind of exclusive to the AAA studios with big teams, with big money, that have a lot of resources to invest in it. But I think with AI, this is going to change. This is going to change the landscape of indie developers becoming more prominent. But on the flip side, I think what we could potentially concern ourselves with, obviously, one, data privacy, data transparency, just being transparent to the players, like what data, you know, the game is actually taking from the player, and secondly, I would say, you know, cheating mechanisms, how to develop an AI to kind of detect players' actions and learning that, and how to prevent cheating in games. I think this, especially in blockchain games, will be quite important, because we do have a very big problem with that.
Yeah.
You know, people literally open like studios and they have like 100 wallets, go and do some whatever activity that is needed, and then they're waiting for the airdrop. So yeah, I think I'm hoping that will be one of the challenges we're seeing now in blockchain gaming that AI is going to solve.
I see. Yeah, I think it's just human nature, right? To cheat. Yeah. I mean, as long as we can see some sort of way to exploit it without getting punished, then I think we'll keep doing on it, right? It's just human nature. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Devon, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Huiling said. So, you know, AI is such a big thing right now in nowadays, especially after ChatGPT come up. I'll say for gaming or GameFi, Web3 games, AI can definitely help. You know, like Huiling said, anti-bot, because bot problem is a very big problem with Web3 gaming because of the play-to-earn nature. A lot of you know, small teams or, you know, individuals, they were trying to hack the game, trying to write some scripts to automatically to play the game to earn some money based on that. So if we can have both rule-based or algorithm-based system to detect that and to make the gaming experience better for for humans, not for bots, that would be a better ecosystem and make sure that the game is not destroyed by the bot. Also AIGC, so AI generated content for whether the production of the game or marketing of the game, generate all kinds of content on your Twitter, on your Discord community, personalized experiences for gamers based on your demographics, based on your personas to push you different events or different activities in the game. Those are all things that AI can help in the game industry. Of course, there are ethical considerations as well. For example, AI requires more data. With all this data, how can we ensure that user privacy is protected, not exploited? Also, how can we make sure, for example, with AIGC, how can we make sure people still have their jobs without losing their jobs? A lot of companies I know personally, they already fired a lot of artists or a lot of content writers for their game because they have AI. They can do used to be done by 10 people, can be handled by 1%. Everything can be done with AI, whether it's images or texts. So that's something we have to consider, not just of course, company needs to make money, but we also have to ensure that with the kind of make sure people have jobs, make sure to educate them, to maybe to help them translate into different roles, and those are things companies should consider as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
I
quite a lot
just
of.
want to add that, like I think with everything, and this is not just AI, okay? This is like AR, VR, even metaverse, all of these new technology, including blockchain. I actually have a friend that is working in creating policies around AI and these new technology that we are increasingly have in our day-to-day life. So I think the takeaway from this particular question you have asked that I'm hoping to leave with the audience is that it isn't rational to fear or to condemn the technology itself, right? Again, the power is in the hands of those who use it. So we do need the right set of policies and regulations to keep companies in check, to make sure that they're not exploiting users' data, for example, right? They're not creating a narrower worldview for anybody in this new technology, because that's what we had a lot with Facebook, with TikTok, with these algorithms. You get so stuck in this algorithm, you become the algorithm. And you start to see the world as more black and white. So that's obviously something we have to avoid. I would like to think that, maybe 3 to 4 years down the road, we're going to have a pretty mature set of rules and policies to govern usage of AI.
Awesome. Yeah, I do hope so as well too. But I think that usually technology is always come way before the legislation, right, or the law. So the legislation always will take time to like catch up. So as we see how it has been played out in many other different industry, right? One question from my side that I'm quite curious about for both of you. What would be the ideal Web3 game? If you could create one game, like what would it be? You can say that, maybe give an example of a game, or you can just think of like what is the characteristic of that game would have. Huiling?
Okay, so I would say, and this is something I say a lot to our clients, just because I think everybody's perspective on a Web3 game is different, right? So in my perspective, I think an ideal Web3 game will be a game that you don't have to know what is an NFT. You don't even realize there is blockchain technology. The user flow is as smooth as you would have in a Web2 game, but you have all the benefits of this new technology, meaning you have complete ownership of your in-game assets, meaning you can even sell these assets on OpenSea, to a much bigger market with more liquidity if you wish. There are examples. I would like to think that, there's companies already doing that. Korea is actually quite progressive just because I think their government is quite open-minded, let's say, when it comes to the exploration of Web3 gaming. So Netmarble with their meta world, which is kind of like an open metaverse, and it's actually in sync with the real life, like the real life Korea. It's a little bit like Pokemon Go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's working really well. I think maybe they have like 7 billion downloads or something from the App Store.
It's more than population of on Earth, no? That's almost population of Earth. Is that many?
Yeah. It's been out there for quite a while. So it's not, a very new game. It's been out there for a while. Yeah, I think that will probably be my ideal Web3 game.
I see. Cool. Devon, what's your imagination on this?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like the idea of Web3 game, you should not like feel any NFT or blockchain element in it. It has to be seamless and fun to play, first of all. For me personally, I think because of the nature of asset ownership, digital ownership, if you want to own something that's something has to be scarce and valuable. And for if you look at gaming industry, there are all kinds of genre of games, casual games, hardcore games. In my personal view, I think the first wave or the ideal Web3 game will be something more like MMORPG, like World or Warcraft, where you can own valuable assets that's scarce. Maybe in the world, you're the only one person that has that skin or has that hero. So it makes the NFT more, in the nature of the ownership can really has a value in it, right? So that's what I think personally. So maybe mid to hardcore kind of game like World of Warcraft or CS:GO will be something that's coming up sooner than casual Web3 games. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, sounds great. We'd love to play both games that you guys design in the future. Anyway,
for sure.
So I'd like to ask this one signature question for my show is that what can we do to help onboard and guide 1 billion people to Web3? I think some of you already mentioned some stuff, but feel free to share. Huiling.
Okay, how do we onboard the next billion users into Web3? I think first, in the next bull market, we are definitely looking at the apps and middleware. So for us, we consider ourselves middleware because you need the middle layer to help the Web2, a lot of these successful Web2 apps to add Web3 functionalities into them. I think that is key to onboarding a lot of the Web2 users. And another thing is, let's stop trying to educate people on Ethereum, on gas fee, on creating your MetaMask, on buying some USDT, and then changing it to another token, and then the DeFi. This is too complicated. Do you know what I mean? This whole process of onboarding users, it's just not gonna work. Okay, we see it. we have accepted it. So I think we have to understand that the tipping point of any technology, first, it needs to have a solid amount of quantity, meaning we need to have a good base of Web2 apps with very large quantity of users, but with the blockchain technology embedded in its fundamental kind of layer. And secondly, I think making the user experience more friendly for the Web2 user is quite important. But it's kind of like a chicken and egg. Do you know what I mean? You need the Web2 apps to bring the users, but you need the middleware to provide that smooth user experience to onboard them into Web3. So it's gonna take a few parties to all play our part and work hand in hand.
Makes sense. Yeah, it will be a long road ahead for us. Yeah. Devon,
Yeah,
what about you?
I think
Go
gaming.
ahead.
I mean, we're here talking about gaming, right? I definitely think
Yeah.
like we're here having this conversation because Devon and myself, we believe that gaming will be a very important entry for the next billion users into gaming. I think when you look across like our users like globally on a global market, for example, if you look at Africa, if you look at Southeast Asia, they have an insanely high unbanking rate, meaning people don't have a bank account, right? So when you look at those markets, even Latin America, maybe. So when you look at those markets, maybe something that will have on and off ramp of just very easy transfer of money. I will bring this case study of Yellow Card. It was one of the highest valued project in Web3 that did fundraise last year. And you know what they do? It's so simple. There's so many countries in Africa to start with, right? Everybody have their own language. Everybody have their own currency. So they said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Instead of asking their users to use traditionally Western Union, which is what they use to transfer money, let's say you're in East Africa, I'm in West Africa, you want to transfer money to me. It's going to be a pretty tedious process. They just created Yellow Card for people to do international money transfer within the African continent. How easy is that? And they have one of the fastest growing amount of users on the continent. So I think you really have to look at where your market is. You really have to ask yourself, okay, what does this market need? And don't build something that, is like, don't build something just because you want to. Build something that you see as a solution for people's everyday life. That's what I'll say will onboard the next a billion users.
Yeah, some great points that you touch upon there for sure. I think at first I feel like gaming is still somewhat of a luxury kind of, right? Well, I guess maybe, right? Like people like you said, right? People don't have bank accounts, so they have to worry about their livelihood first, right? I don't
Yeah.
think gaming is like in their mind, right? Unless they can earn money with games. It's like, Axie Infinity, like you mentioned. Then at that point, then it becomes something different, right? It's not really entertainment or luxury as of now, but more like a way to make the livelihood. So yeah.
You'd be
Some good
surprised. I
point.
mean, one of our client is the largest casual gaming studio in Latin America. They have like millions and millions of users. Obviously, it's very dependent on IAA. So Devon explained it's mainly getting your money from advertisement, right? Because you're super focused on casual and hyper casual games. And you'll be surprised. So I think they're very progressive thinking. They realize that they're coming to a ceiling when it comes to all of these privacy regulations, and it's becoming more expensive to acquire data in the Web2 space. So they're thinking ahead. How do I go beyond that ceiling? And they signed with us, and they're actually going to be contributing, a huge amount of their users to Web3. Do the people in Latin America who are going to play these games, understand what an NFT is? Would I have to tell him this is a non-fungible token? No,
Probably not. No.
I'm not gonna have to do that. It's just going to be a one-click registration of a crypto wallet, and then they're going to have the ability to also use their assets in different games, like cross game. I think Devon already spoke a lot about that. And yeah, so, I think gaming, yes, it's a luxury, but it's also very deeply embedded in our day-to-day life. Even Sudoku that you play on your phone, that's a game.
Yeah, it's true. Well, yeah, I think even back in the prehistoric age, people always came up with game, right? It was a way to kill the time, and
Yeah.
the gaming's always been one way to kill time, right?
Yeah.
Interesting take. Thank you. That's quite a lot. Yeah. Devon, what's your take on
Yeah,
guiding a billion people?
short answer is how to bring 1 billion people to Web3. Short answer is Web3 gaming. I think that's gonna be the hit application for mass adoption of Web3. To break it down, I think there are three key components for Web3 gaming adoption. First one is low entry barriers. For example, social logins without any token or any holding of any assets before you play the game. Uh, that's very crucial, low barrier of entry. Second is better and higher quality games, not just browser-based games. We need a more kind of, maybe PC or even console, very enjoyable player experience, high quality games. Third is new experiences such as the feeling of ownership, also interoperability between different games. If we can ensure that all these three happens, and we can make the adoption of Web3 gaming faster and more easier. So in summary, to bring 1 billion people into Web3, answer is Web3 gaming, and there are things we need to do to make this happen. Yeah.
Nice. I like that you're so bullish on gaming. Yeah.
Yep.
We can, yeah. I mean, if we can make a what is it, 15% of the Earth's population playing game and making a living out of it, I think that'll be interesting.
You know
Yeah.
how many gamers are there in the world? It's 3 billion people, right? So it's half
Already?
population. Yeah.
Oh,
3
really?
billion people
Okay.
playing games.
That's
Yeah,
a lot of people
including
playing games.
mobile, PC, console. Yeah. So if we can make 1/3 of that playing Web3 games, that we achieve the goal. 1 billion people.
Nice. Making a new economy along the way too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because I think, I mean, Huiling also mentioned a lot about the economy in game and cross game purchase. Maybe I want to touch a bit upon that more, because I feel like a lot of the game companies, right? And what would be the incentives for cooperate with one another to have the in-game or cross-game, not in-game, but the cross-game, right? Cross-game purchase, like transfer item from one game. Let's say, I don't know, made by Blizzard, and then now can be sold on another platform by another big game company.
Okay, I'll give you an example from something that we're working for. Again, we're going back to Torofan, this Latin American studio. So basically, what their biggest need is, because they have so many different titles. They have, I think, about 60 titles in total, and it's all casual gaming. So what they want to facilitate is people. Let's say I know you are a card gamer. Okay, you like to play card games. So I would like to encourage you to play other card games under Toro Fun. What we are actually helping them to do with our SDK is that when one person, is detected being a very loyal player of card game A, they will get automatic, let's say, in-app IAP offers for limited time in another card game to encourage them to play in another game. And obviously, down the road, this is not something in like their version 1 plan. In their version 2, they would like to create a marketplace, okay, a Toro Farm marketplace. So that means you can have all of the assets of these 60 titles being traded in one place. And ideally, because these assets, they're on the blockchain, it can register all the achievement, all the milestone, all the tournaments that you've competed in with this particular asset. And that's going to give you more status. That's going to give you more, let's say, rarity in the whole ranking system. So that's what we're doing with Toro Fun. I don't know if that, answers your question. We haven't gone to the point of allowing, let's say, Toro Fun's asset being able to trade to another game. Just, I think you need to create like the user cases first, right?
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess I know user would like to carry, right? But of course, some game may not be compatible with one another. Like, let's say a racing game and then a sword fighting game. What do they have in common? I don't know. Maybe character or something.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. So I
Yeah.
think you have to have somewhat similar genre of a game. I think you need to create utilities for these assets in the other game. Like, okay, if I'm gonna buy this, what am I gonna do with it, right?
That's true. Yeah, I think I've seen, like, what is it? Some game. I forgot the name of the game now. It's like the role-playing game where you dress up as a character and you can actually buy some items, and the items like bear the brands or the actual logos of the like a manufacturer, right? Like a manufacturing company like IKEA, for example. I don't know if IKEA was sponsored or not, but that would be one case, right, where people like in-game. I guess that would be more like in-game advertising, right, from Devon perspective or something. I
Yeah,
don't know how
yeah.
that would be cool. Yeah.
No, I mean this
Yeah.
is then this wouldn't be like the two games kind of like being able to trade their assets. Like I have a friend who makes suits, and he's actually going to get his suits being put in a game. So like in the game, when you acquire kind of like skins or cosmetics for your avatars, you have the
Yeah.
option to go really deluxe, and then you can buy a suit. And you have a lot of cross collabs like this for fashion brands already in
Yeah.
web. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what other sort of potential collaboration there could be, right? Because I
Yeah.
think, yeah, game and fashion and maybe some other thing. Yeah. Heaven, what's your take about like tokenomics in gaming and token economy as a whole?
Yeah. So tokenomics obviously is it's for what Web2 game is game economy. It exists before token exists. It's just the only difference is it's on chain. And I think it's important to have a sustainable tokenomics. We can achieve that through make sure that players enjoy the game and you have enough monthly users to in the ecosystem, and for game companies to maintain that tokenomics. It's same for each country. Like every country has their own economy and their people behind within the country that maintain the economy, macro economy, or try to do different adjustments through different interest rates, etc. Same for a game, right? It's just a smaller scale, kind of its own nation state. That's something that exists. For the question you asked before, like what incentives for game companies to cross game assets? I think for gamers it's obvious because if I own some assets, I can play multiple games. It's very obvious. Why not? For example, if I own something, I can use in many different applications. Like I can log in 10 applications with the Google, Gmail. Why not? It's very convenient for me as an end user. For game companies, the incentive is also, I think, through monetary incentives, for example, royalties. If you have the original ownership of the asset or NFT, other game companies, the purchase of other game companies using of your NFT, uh, that, that process will generate royalties for you, for the original owner of the asset. Let's say you're Blizzard, you own some heroes, and then when other people build games based on your IP, based on your characters, you get paid automatically without even going through a legal process like signing contract, IP, kind of how we're doing right now, dealing with authorizing IP stuff like that. It's all automatic. It's written in smart contracts. It's automatic. You're getting paid without worrying about legal issues because it's in a smart contract. So that's also the incentive for game companies. Imagine if I build something that if people like it, I can just earn royalties for my rest of my life. I don't have to do anything. If IP is popular, it's getting used all the time. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I can see that now. Huiling, do you have anything to add regarding the tokenomics part? I think earlier you said the games company don't necessarily have to issue tokens, right? But I'm kind of wondering,
Yeah.
how can a small game company finance themselves, right? To run the operation, to build, because I think building a game takes a lot of money, right?
Yeah, of
Just
course.
want to hear your
Building a
take on
game
that. Yeah.
takes a lot of money. Obviously, I think Web3 gives indie devs, a very good way to kind of like bootstrap, at least the early on stage. So you see a lot of these these project teams, they will launch an NFT. That's going to bring them, some funding. to roll out the first stage of the production and then launch the game, because you have the NFT funding to support you. But what I wanted to, my message was that the gaming economy is not tokenomics. Does that make sense? You can have a gaming economy. You can, have different assets. You can have an in-game currency without the token. We have a lot of these games that we are working with. They are incentivizing or rewarding their players with a loyalty points or with, just like a coin, a gold coin, whatever. And to top up, for example, this particular points, 100 points might be $10. And because your final transaction is still done in fiat, that makes all of their games still in-app App Store compliant. Yeah.
Okay, I see that. So it's not really. So is there any aspect of blockchain and Web3 that you utilizing in that?
Oh, of course.
game?
I mean, all of your so you will have your data on the public blockchain.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to. So the moment. Okay, let me break it down. The migration of the player from Web2 to Web3, in our scenario with our clients, is the moment that the player actually registered their in-game crypto wallet. So we developed this wallet ourselves. It's fully EVM compatible. You can embed this wallet in any particular point of your game. You can customize exactly what action the player needs to do in order to trigger this wallet registration. And it's very simple. You just need to put in your email address, and you need to put in your password. That's it. Then you have a non-custodial, fully EVM compatible wallet.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, you're basically using account abstraction in a way, make it
Exactly.
easy for user to onboard. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you for your take. So I know that Devon has a next meeting pretty soon, so I'm gonna just 2 more questions. I want to close it out. First question is: Do you guys have any advice for people who are trying to break into Web3, maybe switch from Web2 to Web3? Because you guys are both like working in Web3 and you also have previous Web2 experience. Yeah.
So when I was in a crypto VC, I think a lot of our perspective is like, okay, we gotta look for the crypto native projects, right? Because that was just the mindset we had. But more and more, I actually think it's a very big advantage. For example, if you are from a Web2 point of view and you want to go into Web3, because you will know best what your audience needs. And again, I think before you build a product, look at what problem you're going to solve. Look at how big this market is. I think that's also quite important.
Yeah.
Looking at how to gain initial traction, because it is becoming increasingly competitive, especially given the current landscape with fundraising. So be ready to bootstrap, be ready to, raise some money from your family and friends. Because, a lot of the projects we are hearing now, they might not last until the next bull market. But if you do last until the next bull market, then, maybe your time will come.
I see. Yeah, interesting.
Sorry, it's not like the most optimistic take on things.
Yeah, but actually listening to the answer, I can actually, I listening to your answer, I can tell that you do have a VC background, because I think some of the points you listed are like some of the points that are typical in a pitch deck, right? From startup to VC. Yeah, using problem.
I just want people
traction.
to have the right expectation. I want people to be realistic. I think you have to have this like, kind of like foolish passion, especially if you're a founder, because you need to really believe in it. You need to really believe in what you're doing. But hopefully what you believe in is going to survive till the next bull market. So definitely make sure you pick something with a good market fit. Yeah, that's going to solve problems.
That is true. Yeah, product market fit is always important. trying to build something new. Devon, what's your advice for people who are maybe trying to get a job in Web3?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I think two things. First, explore different Web3 applications as an end user, whether it's Web3 games or different DeFi products, or play with different exchanges. Because if you're doing that, you have to go through the process of setting up a wallet, doing some swaps or transfers, understand some basic knowledge of blockchain and NFT, etc. That's very helpful. Second is, go to different events, whether it's online, offline, conferences. There are lots of events in Web3. I always feel like people in this industry are so energetic. There's endless events you can attend. Also listen to different podcasts, YouTube videos, really helpful. I think essentially those two methods are very, it's not hard to do, and if you're interested in joining the industry, you should do it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, those are some very practical advice. And yeah, I think I think actually many of my guests have already said that people in Web3s are very friendly and open, right? You just have to bring the enthusiasm and also ask a lot of questions, right? And yeah, so you do have to do your homework, right? Do your homework as in research and understand and bring along the question and talk to people. People are actually pretty open. Yeah, I think I also get asked a lot of typical Web3 questions also, because I also meet people inside and outside of Web3 these days, right? And I think some of the most common basic questions, such as even like, what the heck is Web3, right? Get asked a lot. What the heck is Web3 gaming, right? Like next level.
That's why don't be afraid to ask those questions. I mean, the answer keeps on pivoting, right? And it's been decades of when the first blockchain technology came, and my parents asked me, they're like, what the hell are you doing? What is this blockchain thing? Like, we don't understand it. And for them, how I explain to them, think of food safety. Okay, increasingly we're having this issue with food safety. We don't know where our food is coming from. We don't know if it's safe. So imagine if you have an apple in your hand and you're able to trace back from the moment that its seed was planted through every step of its growth, every step of its distribution. That's blockchain technology, essentially.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. First time I heard that example. Yeah, help to explain to people who are not into who are not in Web3.
Yeah, exactly. Before you bust out like Ethereum and then
yeah, exactly. Before you kind of try to confuse them away. Yeah. Awesome. And final question. Where can people follow you? I'll make sure to drop your social media handle. But yeah, feel free to shout out your social media on the website or any other site you want to promote here.
Sure. Do you want us to just?
You can just say you can say and spell it, and then I'll write in the show note later. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. So I think I need to write it just because it's like not really easy to pronounce.
Okay, sure. Yeah, feel free to. You can write, but yeah, feel free to say it also. Yeah.
Okay.
I think people in Web3 usually share like the X, Twitter, X, LinkedIn.
Yeah, just because I was, a hardcore community member of MFers. So my Twitter handle is called self-made MFers. Obviously, like, people can follow me on LinkedIn, which is just my name, Huiling Zhao. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Easy enough. Yeah. And Devon, what about you?
I use Twitter too, but I prefer LinkedIn because I can always see another person. So just search my name on LinkedIn, Devon Sun, so Devon Devon, Sun SUN. You will find me, and happy to have a chat, whether it's casual chat or any business related collaborations. I'm open to all of them.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, make sure to put your social media and handle in the show notes so people can follow you in the respective sites.
Yeah.
It's been a super fun, interesting discussion about Web3 and gaming with both of you. Thank you again for your time today. Yeah, and hope to see you around. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. See you guys. All right.
And we are back to my studio. Wow, what an interesting and very in-depth discussion about Web3 gaming with Huiling Zhao and Devon Sun. if Devon didn't have another meeting right after the recording, I would have easily talked to them for another hour or so, because it was such an interesting topic for both me and the guest. And the answer was also very long, but also very meaningful, because I'm sure they have actually put a lot of thought into it. Anyway, for the next episode of Colors of Web3 and Entrepreneurship, we'll be temporarily taking a break from the Web3 world, and we'll be talking to an entrepreneur in the Web2 world who's making an impact in his home country of Zimbabwe. So please stay tuned for the 11th episode. And if you like this current episode, please give a like and subscribe up here. It will mean a lot to me. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.